Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of November 12th, and we have a very interesting and fateful and irreplaceable week ahead of us, and we're gonna talk about that today. Lots of aspects going on, and a full moon on November 15th. We also have a very important planet. They're all important planets, but we'll discuss why Saturn stationing direct on the day of the full moon is so important. Also, Saturn being the Lord of Karma there, and also the star of our intro song there on the live broadcasts on KPOV. I always start and end with a cosmically inspired tune, and that SZA tune, Saturn. Very interesting how that plays in the information here on the astrology report. So getting right into it, on November 12th, we have the first of three squares between the planet of Mercury, which is slowing down to station retrograde in the 1st of December, or end of November, 1st of December. And so that is a slowing mental capacity. That's a slowing mind, slowing communications, all that ruled by the planet of Mercury, but in a square to Saturn. And this is a big star of the week, because it's the Lord of Karma. This is also coming in at a time where we have a lot of lunar node interplay this week too. So lots of layered things going on, but basically a square between Mercury and Saturn brings in some type of information, brings in some type of communication, some type of an interplay, a transaction between people, Mercury and Saturn, a reality check. So we get a bit of a reality check early in the week. And it's interesting because I was actually starting off the morning talking to the kid about how it felt like there was some type of reality setting in. And so this could be definitely the first of three, it being the first of three times that we're going to see this during the Mercury retrograde. So when something happens during the Mercury shadow, like we're in right now, Mercury entered the retrograde shadow last week. And so we are being given the first of the three times we're going to be doing this. So we get the first of three reality checks here, first of three karmic checks. There's some type of karmic recognition going on here, that something indeed is going to sort of get in our face in terms of responsibility. A square is definitely the aspect that puts things right into our face and requires us to take action. So this communication coming in, it gives us some type of ultimate checkpoint, really, where we stop and say, okay, we just got this information. We have very much the planet of Saturn being in Pisces right now. We have the end is nigh sort of feelings when it comes to Saturnian things, which is our responsibilities, things in this life that we are responsible for. Saturn is definitely sort of a cold energy that's going to also have, be setting up boundaries and saying, well, hey, if we have these responsibilities, then we're going to need to also put up these boundaries and have these rule structures and make sure that we're all playing this game fairly. This comes in early this week, and it's just maybe something that we sit with this information, this communication. Mercury slowing down, so we might not be able to do much with the information. It might come in fast, but there might not be any movement out very quickly. We might feel as though we start to really slow down this week in our mind, and just the trips that we take for errands here and there, those types of transportation, even our car, we could find that there are problems that come in with Mercury retrograde within our transportation, in these little trips that we take all over the place. They start to slow down. We start to forget things in the house and have to go back in and grab things, or indeed have to turn around and kind of redo something. That's what a retrograde is anyways. So this is a passing energy for now. It's happening right at the very top of the Mercury shadow. So we are going to have 2 more passes of this over the next couple of months during this Mercury retrograde cycle. So first little check of the story coming in. And then on November 13th, and really this is all kind of happening right now and all week, these aspects kind of come in, they fade in, and they fade out. So it really is a few days coming in, a few days going out. We have Venus in conjunct with Mars. And Venus has just entered a new sign. She is in the sign of Capricorn now. So bye-bye to Sagittarius for now, for Venus. She will be back. That was a fun time in the sign of Sagittarius. For the past few weeks, Venus really enjoys being in fire signs and being in mutable signs where the energy is lighter and she can create more of this pleasurable energy. And now she has moved into the sign of Capricorn where, we've had our fun and now it's time to sort of take things a little more seriously. In Capricorn, we are ruled by that planet of Saturn. And so here is where Saturn comes back in again this week, where Venus, she was very much in charge in the sign of Sagittarius. She's no longer in charge in Capricorn. She is going to need to be checking in now with Saturn, with the Lord of Karma. And this is a little uncomfortable for her. Venus likes to be free and she likes to be able to have things pleasurable when she wants it that way. And Saturn, as I mentioned, has boundaries, has rules, has no problem saying no when things are not right. And so where Venus in Sagittarius was even going over the top, because exaggerating and excessiveness can be sort of a lower vibrational energy of Sagittarius, sort of going over the top with things. She has hit very much a reality checkpoint here too. So we have 2 personal planets having a big reality check this week, and she's in that in conjunct with Mars. Mars is her cosmic lover. Mars is like her energy that they bounce off of, like the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. And an in conjunct is kind of uncomfortable. So Mars is a little uncomfortable, a little irritable, doesn't have a lot to offer to his cosmic lover right now, who usually likes things really pleasurable, but is kind of coming up against a cold brick wall after partying really hard in Sagittarius. So there's kind of this coldness that comes in this week within the personal planets, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. We have had a lot of now new fiery energy with Mars having moved into Leo, Mercury having moved into Sagittarius. And so it's only natural that Saturn in Pisces is going to come in to give us this karmic give us this karmic checkpoint right now. And this is all building up to the big meal deal event on November 15th. That's our full moon in Taurus. And I'm going to go ahead and move my chart ahead. If you have any interest in looking at the astrology chart, it's very interesting to actually get a visual. If you're a visual learner and you like that, you can join me on, I'm actually on a free website. It's called AstroSeek. It's astro-seek.com. I am in no way affiliated with them or anything. I just think it's a really easy free website to work with. So you can go on there and look up Friday, the 15th of November and check out the chart for the full moon with me, or any day that you want. This is also where you can go and get your astrological birth chart, which is really going to be your method for determining how the astrology is affecting you on a personal level. So astro-seek.com. The full moon in Taurus on Friday the 15th falls at 24 degrees of Taurus, where the moon is, and 24 degrees of Scorpio, where the sun is. This is where that astrological birth chart can come into play. You go onto your chart and you look up those points, and you can see which houses and which parts of your life this could be affecting. And if you have any important planets or points that interplay, you can see that is going to be affecting you also. So 24 degrees Taurus and Scorpio, the moon and the sun are always at an opposition for the full moon. So that's why the full moon gets the rap for being that culmination point, being creating basically lunatics out of people. We get this crazy energy because there is this exact opposition, and it feels like a breaking point. It feels like a popping point when you have these two extreme energies looking straight at each other. You get to make a choice, and there's some type of expression around it. So a full moon, known for having our emotions intensified, and in Taurus, this is where we have this interesting interplay between Venus and Saturn come back in, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, where Venus is currently, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus, which is the ruler of the full moon. So everything kind of goes back to Saturn here anyways, as far as the energetics go, and like which planet is leading the charge here and leading the energies of the full moon and of the week. Another interesting point, Saturn, the star of the week, stations direct on the same day of the full moon, November 15th, at 12 degrees, 41 minutes of Pisces. And this is very much a karmic strengthener. We have the Lord of Karma sitting stationary, extremely still. This is where the planet is at its strongest. So Saturnian themes, it can be cold. This is like your father who, runs the home, and he's that fatherly, masculine figure. And before you leave home, okay, dad asks you, where are you going? Who are you going to be with? What's the phone number where I can find you? When are you going to be home? What route are you taking on the road? They ask all the questions. They want to know all the answers, and then they say, okay, be back at this time, and I want you doing this and doing that and staying on course. So Saturn already is like one of those figures that comes along and sort of puts us on a more realistic track. It's not a big dreamer. Saturn is the opposite of a dreamer. It's the most realistic, rational type of energy that there is. So there's this rationality, this realism coming in on this full moon in Taurus, where we're begging to feel the Venus energy. Venus rules Taurus, and Taurus doesn't like to be pushed too hard. Taurus likes to sit real still and be in a fixed position, and so does Scorpio. So the sun and the moon are both in fixed signs, and this can be really tough. This can be where we don't want to take advice. We don't necessarily want to have these boundaries be put on us. We don't necessarily love dad's phone calls and the conversations with dad right now. Venus wants to be Venus and just wants to have her good time. And so very interesting energy coming in this week, and all things that we can work with. There's a stillness to Saturn, and it's not pushing forward or back. And so we have this opportunity to be here with it. And it's not super forceful right now. It's more of like that karmic course correction coming in. We have also Venus in a T-square with the nodes this week. And the lunar nodes are the course correctors. That's where we get the eclipses. That's where we sling through wormholes and see our lives change in an instant. And also, the full moon is conjunct the planet of Uranus this week, which is the big awakener, the planet that creates instant change, spontaneity, all of a sudden things going to be shaken up. And so there's lots of aspects this week that shake things up, yet we just know, because we can feel it, and we know that these cosmic course corrections are coming in, that it gets shaken up so that it can all fall in the places where it needs to. But it can be quite unsettling. There is a lot that we are letting go of right now. There is a lot that we are finishing. Pluto is at 29 degrees and 55 minutes of Capricorn this week and is finishing up all of the duties and responsibilities and transformations in the sign of Capricorn since 2008 and getting ready to move into the sign of Aquarius next week on November 19th here on the Pacific West Coast. We also have this planet of Saturn in the sign of Pisces, finishing things up in that 12th sign, looking to make endings, looking to leave things behind for a lifetime, for full transformation. So yeah, this can be quite unsettling. This is pretty much a wild card. I'm not going to lie. There is definitely ways to step into this. We can step into it realizing that we've made it this far, that we've graduated. Pluto's now direct. Saturn is now direct. We have gotten our little reality checks. Things are coming real. We're starting to slow down a little bit and see things a little more clearly. And we could step into this like we made it this far and step up literally like we're going to be grabbing our Oscar to give our final thank you speech this week. Or, we can step up like it's our prison sentence, that we're accepting also. So the energy that you bring into this week and the way that you approach this full moon and the way that you approach this Saturn energy and these shakeups and the course correction, there's a softness that needs to happen. Saturn is gonna wanna make things hard, but Venus wants to make things soft. We need to lean into that softness. We need to lean into the earthiness as much as possible and stay grounded, stay rooted, get out and put your feet on the ground, eat a bunch of root vegetables, whatever you can to get grounded, to feel like you have your feet on the ground. There are a couple other planetary oppositions happening over the weekend, and it's just causing more shakeups with the sun in a total opposition with Uranus through Saturday. And of course, again, this is kind of happening all week. And then on Monday, the 18th, Mars is coming into the first of 3 interplays with the nodes of fate. So just a very karmic, fated time where it could feel like we want to turn back, but you turn back and you realize that the trail has all grown in behind you, and it's almost like a labyrinth that has closed its doors, and there's no going back. There's no finding the path back because it's totally altered, it's totally transformed, it's totally shifted, and it's totally gone. And then you turn around and look forward and realize that this is the only way that you can go to accept, to move in to the future, right? So we're stepping up and we're stepping into it. We don't want to trip and fall off of the cliff right now. So watch your step, watch what you're doing, watch the words that are coming out of your mouth, watch the actions that you're taking, watch the thoughts in your mind, and try and focus on benevolence, focus on course correction, focus on the faith in the universe that the path that is being provided for us is indeed the most benevolent and highest outcome for us. We still have this Jupiter-Chiron sextile going on long-term right now. The gifts are coming in long-term right now, and it's ultimately providing this beautiful healing for us to move into a brighter future. So it doesn't sound too bad to me. I hope that this show was helpful for you today, and I hope you're able to glean some good information out of here. And I hope you have a really good week, and I will be talking to you again soon. Thank you. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.